Yeah. Technical difficulties. The joys of broadcasting. So, just a minute here, we'll get started. Yeah. It is that time now. Yep, still using my smartwatch. I have found the more I've used it that I wish it had a better speaker, especially when you're trying to do a drive-by. You know, the directions and the instructions are coming out of your watch, and you can't hear them. So you're kind of like, oh, hey, what am I doing here? Driving down the road like this. Driving down that road like this. No. We're gonna get started here. Sorry for this being Saturday, Friday. Guess I didn't realize how tired I was when I got back from work. So a little relaxing right before the show. I always do. Let's get ready up and make supper, do the show, and fell asleep. So that's why we're doing it tonight. The other thing, we're doing a little bit of a soft start this week. I'm going to push the show out to Mixler to add that this week. So because of that, start that up and get that rolling out there. See if I can get this thing working. I don't know whether it's working or not. Testing it out. Just a minute. Okay, there. That's what we're going to do it this time. Just a quick copy over the show title. And we're live on Mixler. So you'll see on the top of the About It Pete's Tech 10. Up on the top will be a little there up top. We'll have all the menu options, and one of those is Mixler. So you can go out there, and the kind of interesting thing with that is that there we do have a chat. So it's part of the reason to get it, I think, for me. So go out there, hop out in the chat if you want. Just trying to add some kind of bonus interactions with, with kind of beefing up, kind of reasons to come out and watch us live. So that's kind of the thing there. And then, and also with Cox today, hopefully we should So we're gonna start our show started. Okay, so this is Pete's Tech Den, show number 15. Yeah, it is 15. Kind of crazy that it's gone on this long. But tonight we're gonna talk about Sophos. As I finally have gotten it working. It really helps when you're trying to install it. If you install it from off of a CD rather than USB. I'm seeing if I can get this browser to open up. Is trying to get connected to the Sophos so I can pull up this PFL. Okay, hopefully this is going to stay up. Why are you being... I don't know what its problem is. It's connecting just fine. It was just connecting just fine the other day. Like, yesterday when I was playing around with it. Well, no idea what its problem is. Oh, just hit me. I know what the problem is. Always forget about this. It, of course, it has to, you have to come in to the web admin, which I want to show you, from a specific port, which if you don't come in from that specific port, then you got problems. If there's anybody out there on Mixler, you can just give me a shout out in the or chat. Send me a talk to me on the chat. I was kind of wondering how that's rolling out there, whether that's working or not. Otherwise, we're just gonna get rolling. So, Sophos. See, finally got it installed, and then it wasn't working, and because I mean, once it's the installer for it is is made to install via CD. So if you just, I mean, I tried all kinds. There's all kinds of like people talking about workarounds installing it from USB. I could not get it to work. So I would say just go out there, download the ISO, burn to a CD, and install it that way. It's kind of interesting. Like you can get a free download, but it's like you have to apply for it. But you basically, I mean, as far as I know, you just get accepted automatically. So it's kind of interesting. The big thing to look at when you're downloading the ISO is whether you're there's basically a software version and then an appliance version. I think the appliance, from what I understand, is for like if you're running it for virtual. Which I downloaded that one and tried to install it, which is why it wasn't working with my Ethernet ports. So then I went back, downloaded the software one, boom, it installed. It was working great. Because it runs a little bit more setup then. But yeah, beautiful. But yeah, so I'm just going to kind of go through, do a brief overview as I've just started working through it. Yeah, I started playing around with it yesterday. Looks really awesome. But yeah, so let's jump into this and roll with it. I'm not sure whether this looks like Mixler's having issues. But there's only one way to find it. But we're gonna get rolling with this. So we're just gonna jump into this quick here in a minute. Okay, just a minute. I'll quick check something. Joys of trying out something new. Okay. Well, I'll just figure out Mixler later. We'll run with this. Get on with the show. And boom. So yes, this is what the admin looks like. Looks, I don't know, it's pretty good. Dashboard, I mean, so a little bit similar, so very similar to PF10, which is the other one we've looked at, and very different. Untangled is very different. But it shows, you know, all your interfaces, whether they're up, down, that kind of stuff, whether they're stated, whether there's something plugged into it, and then also whether it's getting a connection via that. And then you see stuff about your different system configurations, your resources, your versions, today's threats, status. And then you basically the model of your software, license ID, subscriptions, uptime. But yeah, so I guess the one thing I've found that I really like about it, as opposed to like PFSense is just like everything is on there. It's all, there's no going in and installing packages and what packages do you need, and well, this one you need, you need this package for this part of it and another package for another part of it. It's just all boom right there. Now, I mean, the downside to that is that then you're not going to have as much room for, trying to think of the word I want to use. Customization. That's kind of like the difference between like Mac and Linux. With Linux, you got all the free stuff, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're just like, I just want it to work, kind of a thing. And so yeah, this is what the panel looks like. Then you can go into different sections. We'll kind of jump through these. Yeah, your system settings, which is a lot of the stuff that you've already set up. Organizational stuff, your host name, time and date. You have shell access, scans settings, and then you reset configuration of passwords. You can set up your web admin settings. Your access control. A lot of stuff. HTTP certificates. It's like crazy. All this stuff. User preference. Yeah, there's all kinds of. Here. That one. The port. Making sure that stuff. You get your licensing. Licensing installation. This is the one big important thing is you have to upload your license file, which when you get your email from here, like, okay, you can download this. It'll include it, as attached to that. And so you need to save that file and then upload it to your router. That provides all its all of the like what are you actually like your license for, like your different add-ons and things like that. This is where you update. You can say when you want to kind of your schedule, your download intervals. You got advanced stuff. But yeah, we'll probably come back and do. We'll probably do a second pass over with Sophos. So I'm gonna just kind of go through this quick. There's obviously, you can see from the side, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. And so I just kind of want to just kind of quick overview, and then we'll do some second passovers with both of these, I think. Let's see. Yeah, there's some of these things there's essential management, but that's like a paid feature, so you kind of skip over that. Customization. With the home, you don't get that. You can get notifications. Kind of cool. Kind of interested to see what kind of you get an email notification when the system was restarted. Successful web admin logins. SSH. So basically, everything you can want to be notified, like you just get like notifying set up so you get notified about these things. So yeah, bunches of things here. Where did my cursor disappeared? It's probably something we'll touch on later because I really wanted to explore that a little bit on my own before I figure out. But it looks like it's a way to control like your mobile devices from the main control Sophos thing. So it looks like interesting. Looks like there might be a. We had some more like maps. Like I don't know. That looks like you could set it up. Looks like it might be more of a business kind of, where you could like set up and have like a bunch of them. They would know when to start starting up some other ones. And of course, here's a nice place where you can shut down or restart the system. You got your definitions and users. That's pretty much all. Oh, click down. Go through some of this stuff. I don't know. It's like has to do with like how you route things. So name. And specifically looking at ports. Interesting. Not exactly sure. Well, let's get it back into some of the areas. These are some kind of interesting things where you can look at, routing and look at your traffic via, the different services or by where they're going to kind of stuff. But you look at your interfaces here. This is where you can set up those interfaces, what they are, and that kind of stuff. So you can set up, type of internet, interface is it, which one is it? Is it a dynamic IP? Is it IP default gateway? And then you can also set up a host name. All kinds of things. I mean, these are just those settings you're probably not going to mess with a whole lot. Basically, here you can see I have an external, just the WAN, and the internal. You can set up kind of your normal stuff, quality service. again, you see those two interfaces. And I don't have any kind of quality servers turned on for me. The uplink monitoring is on. So it's just telling me I have internet out on my my uplink on basically whatever's coming on in on the WAN. And this is where you could set up, like, if you had somebody that had two internet providers, you could say, hey, when the uplink goes offline, your main one, switch over to the other one. Kind of thing. Probably not something I would imagine you guys are probably doing. There's IPv6, why not? You can do static routing. Dynamic routing. I don't think I have really any of these are on. Some of these settings is. It's probably another thing I need to look into. Some of the stuff is like, I haven't even seen some of this stuff. What to do with it? Some of this is for multicast routing. I think you're setting up things to I will come back to that. And here's where you set up your DNS kind of stuff. You can forward the DNS or DNS request route, static entries, and then you can set up your dynamic DNS if you have one of those. There's also DHCP. Probably just going to have one of those. Just shows you basically it's like it's like any other. This is something that will actually get set up while you're doing the install. Basically, the range that you're going to hand out IP addresses, and then what DNS server, what's the default gateway, what's kind of things, how long is the release going to last, the domain. You can do a DHC relay. I think basically forwards your DHCP requests to someone to basically. It's kind of like the thing if you have double routers or something like that. You could say, hey, just forward the request for this on to this other one. Or if you have you have your router and then you have like a DHCP server separate from that, you could say, hey, just forward it to that and let that, and then that thing will respond back, and then you go, hey, this is your IP address. You can set up static mappings, which is what you use to set up for like servers and that kind of stuff. Obviously, got options. Always something. I think I have. 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 I think I have Oh, NTP. This is for like setting up your. It's for the service sets up like what your time is on your network. You get down to network protection. It's kind of interesting because here you can see where top drop source hosts. And then your top drop DOS destination. But here's where you can set up your firewall, all your different rules and stuff. Whether you want to do country blocking, it's all the stuff is just built in. ICP. Here's where you're gonna allow different things like FTP, file transfer, or PTP, which I'm pretty sure has to do with it's where like you can stream stuff from one point to another. If you remember back to the Myth TV setting, we could set that up on that, so that you could, pick it up on your, on your tablet or stream it to your Xbox, that kind of stuff. But you can also set up that. It's basically your NAT. Just not something really needs to. It's basically just connecting your basically basic. It's stuff that it'll print. This is kind of interesting thing. Advanced threat protection. I haven't messed a whole lot around with some of the advanced features. You can set up basically intrusion prevention. Basically here you can set up all these things for, attack patterns and stuff. Kind of interesting seeing just how many. Set up stuff for anti-DOS attacks where they just kind of like try to overload you by just sending in a bunch of requests. Something you probably won't have to deal with. Anti-port scams just keep people from scanning your ports. Trying to help keep against those things. Look at server load balancing. You have VoIP. Set up that there. This is one interesting thing here I found with web protection, because I had a lot of problems trying to get the web filtering set up on PSense and get it working, get it to stay working and stuff like that. But here it just automatically started working, just boom, done. It right after installation it was already working. I mean, here you can see different applications that are getting scanned, your top application categories, top sites by time spent on, top sites by traffic, top user traffic. Obviously, I've just been testing on it, so there's just been me. But you can pop down here to web filtering, and basically, spin global and everything on the internal. Run it transparent, so basically you don't have to logins and stuff. And you can set it up to scan the HTTPS stuff. And then You can set up policies. Basically, right now, your base policy is any, but you can set it up so that it's like, you have different users and groups, and like by times, and certain groups. Do you want certain groups to be able to get to it or not? So you can set it up so like different groups have different, filtering. Kind of nice. Now here with web filtering, set up filtering profiles. Yeah. Then here's where you set up your filter actions. Right. You have your default contact filter block action, and then up here you have your, you just go through your set your categories. I like that the color code. That's really nice for me because it just makes it easy to scroll through and see what you have blocked and what's not, and how much of the categories are you blocking, that kind of thing. But you can also do it via website, downloads, by file extensions and types. You can do antivirus scanning. You can do additional options, which is making sure that you're using Google Safe Search, Bing Safe Search, Yahoo Safe Search. You want to just use YouTube for schools. You want to enforce allowed domains for Google Apps, Cordos, network configurations. And then you can say log access pages and log block pages. And so it's super powerful doing that. Because then you can, here's more filtering options for specific services to allow them through websites bypassed users. Oh, it's done. Okay, we'll get to logging things in just a minute. Categories. So what's included in each category? Holy moly! Just beginning to realize how powerful the filtering is. I mean, I can even click on that edit here, and now it's like, oh my goodness, now I have all of these options, and you can create your own categories. I don't know. It's just like the more I've explored Sophos, I just feel like it blows me away how powerful it is, how many different options you have, how easy it is to configure those options. And then you set up HTTPS certificates and turn them on and off. See, there's a bunch already there that are already there. You can upload more. Set it up to detect HTTP, loopbacks. It's just like all kinds of stuff. And this is policy help desk. I love this because it allows you to plop in a destination domain or URL. That you can put in a username, you can put in and save for a specific time, and then you can test and see whether that policy comes through. So like here, I say YouTube.com. I say tests. Boom, it says you're allowed, and it's in the URL category of streaming media. Boom. Very easy to understand it. You can also turn on application control. Kind of interesting. Just like the interface. I'm trying to think of which one. I think it's this one. Open flow monitor. No data available. So you can see here, DNS, Google Plus. So you can block stuff. You say to shape it or throttle it. All kinds of stuff. Turn that back off right now. You set up FTP, where to allow it, where not to, kind of stuff. And then you get down to email protection for all these different things. I don't have a lot of this turned on because I'm still just looking at it. Endpoint protection, that's something to really look at. Takes time. Wireless protection, looking at your global settings. This is, radius servers. I think that's one thing. Kind of interested to see. Yeah, it definitely looks like the server has to be separate from the router. I guess that's one mark against Sophos, because with the PF you can just install basically a radius server inside of the router, which is nice. So that's kind of a bummer. Oh, I think it wants me to enable these up here. Oh, I gotta have to click apply before it applies it. Not. Okay. You can see what some of those things before were with, like create like pre-configured settings lists that you can just do a keyboard shortcut and pull that thing down, and boom, you're configured, you're off and rolling. Okay, so now we got that configured. And then here's where you can configure your Wi-Fi. And you can configure, access points, meshing networks. I think that's what you can be basically like roaming, where you can set it up to where your different access points would kind of mesh together into form one, where you're just kind of switch between whatever access point is closest, kind of a thing. Probably not something that you're going to be dealing with in a house, probably. Thing. kind of interested to see what this is saying. Come back to that. You can look at web server protection, all kinds of stuff, reverse authentication, certificate management, all kinds of stuff. Red management. I didn't really look a whole lot at this. Oh, this is something where you're like it says, if you have a business, reinventing branch office security, which obviously we're not really much into. You can also set up VPN via Amazon virtual private cloud setup, IPsec, SSL, and then you know the certificate management. So it's a little bit more limited in the VPN side because it seems like now I feel like maybe it's different from the pfSense in that the pfSense has has different options. So I think it has OpenVPN as opposed to the Amazon VPC. And you can set up remote access to it through a host of different options. And then here's where I was talking about, logging. You can view, here we have basically a log partition size status. You can look at hardware, so you can see, look back, what's your CPU usage, what's your memory usage, your partition daily usage. You can look back to your network usage. Very nice stuff. I mean, network protection, firewall violations, intrusion prevention statistics. Here's where you look at your web protection. Look at a search engine report, departments, schedule new reports, application control. That's another, basically looking through all your reports and then log off. Seem like, holy moly, time is just like flown by. Didn't see it going this fast. Wow. Then, like, but I think you come back to it and oh, there it's got that wireless setup that I set up is down because obviously there's no, now won't be there. The thing is, like, looking at what Sophos has to offer, for me, it's like, it looks, it's fairly astounding to me, just because, there's all those options still there, just as many. I feel like just as many as you see on pfSense, and yeah, I feel like their user interface is far and above beyond what pfSense has. I think the pfSense still has, a couple advantages with if you want that open VPN to use that service to set your VPN up, or if you really need it to be your Radius server. But other than that, it's like I feel like it does everything else better. But yeah, I don't know. That's just trying to think through, like, what does it do that better than what the pfSense does? Like, what does the pfSense do that's better than than the Sophos. But it's like I don't feel like there's that much. I feel like overall, I mean, unless you need some of those customizations in what you're doing, you know, Sophos is hands down better than the PF-Sense. But I want to explore some of those more advanced options, and we'll have another show on this, and we'll get those covered and rock it out. But yeah, I just keep being, I was like blown away by just, okay, well, there's another option, and yet how easy it is to just go, okay, configure it, and you're up and running, and I don't know, it's just like, it's all there kind of stuff. And just having that ease of use in the user interface, I feel like is huge. You know, because if you can't get it to work, what's having all those advanced features? I mean, there's really no point. There's no point to it unless you can get all of those advanced features there. If you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm not sure this whole thing with Mixler actually went out. I think it's having problems. Let's see if we. Looks like it's having trouble getting out. Maybe it was having trouble getting back. I don't know. Yeah, if somebody's out there listening, but yeah, give me a shout because this show is about to end out on Mixler because I have. Oh no! Now it's just started going out. Wow, I guess something with the Sophos was blocking it. We have to figure out what that's going on because it's working now. We'll have to figure that out. If I decide to drop the Sophos in place of the PSNs, I will have to get that figured out because it's going to happen. We will have to do some work on that, get that figured out. But yeah, so that's that. Hopefully this show went out. But yeah, we'll get that figured out for Mixler for next week. I think this is going to be the end of the show. Post-show now. So, well, next week we're also going to have a little bit of a different scheduled time. It's going to be a little bit interesting because we're not going to be doing it here. We're going to be doing a little bit off-site, and so it's going to be kind of fun. So I'll actually be recording it, probably pushing it out live, as well as I get that set up and going. Actually, from where I work, before work. That's because we're going to be putting together. We're going to go kind of a little bit more ethical next week, talking about work environments, and it's just from more of a biblical perspective. Kind of an interesting conversation to have with a friend of mine who also works there. We always get together every week. He's a great guy, Mr. Gary Peterson, so we'll be having him on next week, and that'll be awesome as we get to roll with that. But yeah, so that'll be Friday morning, probably shooting for like an 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be early, but that's the way it's going to work. We're going to roll with it. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, so next week will be awesome. We'll have that. We'll see what happens after that. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I don't know. I did pick up some super cool server stuff that I'm going to be working on. Then also trying to get some other cool things up and running, tested, figured out. Particularly open media vault, I think it's called. Kind of another one of those media server free options that look fairly interesting. Potential time machine backup options to it. So it looks like it could be really exciting. Hoping to get that fired up here soon. But yeah, hanging out, chilling, rocking it out. But yeah, hopefully you found the Sophos kind of interesting. I found it. I don't know. I really liked it a lot. Obviously, I need to dig into some of the advanced features, but that's just, to me, that's fun. And hopefully get it set up, configured, drop it into place, and then be ready to rock and roll. The biggest thing is I gotta figure out how to set up the radius part of it, because I really wanted to use that for authentication on my network. Just security. We went kind of crazy with the security, but that's the way we roll. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. Got some stuff to do. Ready to rock and roll. So see you later. See ya.